Hello everyone, before we start this video I want to thank you all for helping me reach over 100 subscribers. I was not anticipating us getting there anytime soon. We hit there probably about a week ago now, and I haven't been able to upload a video actually thanking you all for it because it was that quick. So again, thank yous all so much. I wasn't expecting this much attention and this much excitement for DwarVein. And with that comes the contents of this video, where I'll be discussing a leaderboard that I've created, the feedback that I've gotten off a few game testers that has led to some UI changes, some assist settings for if you're playing with no audio, the DLC that will be coming out after release. Well, it will be out with release, but there will be extra content after release included in it. I'm going to show you a little bit of a sneak peek at this content, and then also about me updating my trailer. So as you've seen, only recently I uploaded a new version of my trailer containing some of the new UI elements, and then alongside that, at the moment I have entered into an indie game competition with a chance to showcase DwarVein at a public expo, and alongside that the game is going to be releasing next week. Well, by the time you're watching this video the game has released today, but the game releasing is currently in a waiting state due to the fact that there has to be a minimum of 14 days of testing on the Google Play Store, and currently while I'm editing this video we're at 4 days remaining. So once this video releases, the game will also be released down below. So if you want to go and try out DwarVein, make sure to click the button down in the description, or I'll have it in a pinned comment as well. Now back to the video. The first thing I did was, well, I noticed how competitive the fan base was. Everyone wanted to compete for the highest score in DwarVein. It was a common trend even in my Discord, and I had it set up in the Discord on who comes first and who's getting the highest scores. So I took a look around and decided to implement it into DwarVein itself. As you've seen in a recent video, I had a tutorial on how to set it up for your own game, but I went out of my way, got that set up for DwarVein, and ever since it has increased the competition and the play rate of DwarVein by tenfold, by an unquantifiable amount. I was not expecting it to be as effective as it was, but it really is. I noticed a lot of people just wanted to get that first place, and even so, a lot of people wanted to get their name on the leaderboard up top, and if they didn't, they would end up going back to the game time and time again to try and get higher and higher. Now, I'll thank Dabkit, who is #1 on the leaderboard, and Shado and a few others in the Discord for actually coming up with this idea of adding a leaderboard. I was very uncertain at first because I thought it wouldn't fit the game, but the more I designed and the more I worked on the game, I realized, yeah, I'll add a leaderboard. And as you can see in the background, this is what it looks like. I made it pretty simple. You can scroll, you can see how many players are on it. At the moment I have 10 viewable players, but I'm going to expand that so you can see even further down. And alongside that, there was a username system I created. So on your first entry into the game, after the tutorial, you will enter the house, and in the house it will prompt you to add a username. Now I have a profanity filter in the game so that you can't use offensive names. At least I hope no one gets through this. We'll find out at release. I have it set up so you can't have blank names and you can't have inappropriate names, and it will force you to input your username. So whenever you get a score, that account is tied to that name and your own ID, and every time you get a new high score it overwrites your previous score, but only if you get a high score. This was actually a lot simpler to add than I expected, thanks to the Quiver plugin, which I showcased in the previous video, and you can add it yourselves if you really want to. And I highly recommend, if you're working on any small projects, game jam projects, to definitely go and do that, because it can make a world of difference. So for DwarVein, I have over 25 testers playing the game, and a few of them, a core group of them, play very often, and they've been my core feedback group. So some of them are really good players, as in they play a lot, they get high scores, and they can breeze through the game, where some of the other ones are more on the other end, where they struggle in the first level, the second level, and the third level, and I can get a good balance on the difficulty level between both fields. After a bit of playing from one of the highest players, he noticed a few issues, and a few of them I knew already and I was currently working on, but he also noticed some hat imbalance. So having this information helped me fine-tune what was too powerful or too underpowered. There was a recommendation by a few of the testers, so in older versions, to access the hat customization scene and the pet customization scene, they were two completely separate menus. So I worked on that and added this new little UI scene. So you go up to customize, you can select what hat you have, what cosmetic hat on top of that, and you can select what pet you want to equip, and it shows it all in this nice little box in the middle of the screen. This change was loved by almost everyone. This further led into the fact that while I was expanding the game with a few new ideas, that I needed more space. So I've added two tabs. I have a World 1 tab and a World 2 DLC tab, and you can click through them interchangeably to access different hats to equip on your character. So splitting off anything that was paid content versus free content in a much neater fashion. And while working on that, I also implemented a new DLC tab. So when you go to purchase the DLC, it opens this menu behind me here, shows all the contents of what's in the DLC and what's also coming soon, so you know exactly what you're buying. And now this DLC is only going to be around €1, and it's completely optional. If you really want to get a little bit of extra content or longevity out of the game, you can purchase it, but you have plenty of content there if you just use the base version. I didn't want to implement any invasive monetary systems, so this is what I chose as a fair balance, and I'll discuss more on the Tropics DLC later in this video. A small little bit of feedback I got from a few players was, if you're on a mobile device and you're playing the game in a place where you can't use audio, it became rather difficult to actually tell where the statue enemy was. Well, because you couldn't hear anything in certain cases, you wouldn't be able to tell if one was nearby. So what I implemented was this setting in the menu, and it's a enemy detection setting that I created. So if a statue gets a certain point near you, this pop-up will show up above the player, warning you of an enemy presence nearby. It doesn't indicate what direction the enemy is coming from, so you still have to be aware of that fact, but it's an entirely optional setting, and it assists for people playing on mobile devices in places with no audio. Or if someone is actually deaf or audibly impaired, they can also still play the game and enjoy it for what it is. Also, I'm gonna keep this short, but if you wouldn't mind dropping a like down below and subscribing to the channel and giving DwarVein a try if you are interested, as the link is down below for the Google Play Store and for itch if you're on Windows too. Anyways, back to the video. Some of you keen-eyed viewers may have been looking at the DLC tab I was showing earlier and noticed the fact that there's 2 new levels coming with it. And yeah, I'm working on 2 more levels for DwarVein, which in the original plan was not the idea. It wasn't my intention, but with how much people are enjoying the game, I decided I'll work on 2 more. One is a jungle level and the other is a volcano level. And alongside that, they will be selectable in a new hub world that I'm also developing. Each level will come with its own new hats, pets, and mechanics and enemies in the level itself. The first thing I did was draw up some art for the levels and the actual hub world. As you can see in the background in this speeded up footage of me attempting to make a hub world, but all in all, I came out with a really nice product at the end, in my own opinion, and in the opinion of those in the Discord. Make sure to check out the Discord if you want to keep up to date. But the main focus with this DLC was having something unique. I didn't want to churn out more of the same. I wanted new things to add to the game. So I'm not going to show any of the content in the levels, as I'm still working on them. I have the jungle level ready, but I'm working on the volcano at the moment, and I want to keep these under wraps until release. But you can take a look here and you get to see a finished version of the new hub world for the Tropics DLC, as I'm dubbing it. Also, if any of you are interested, there is a limited edition hat that is only unlockable if you download the game during its launch window. So for the next week, if you download DwarVein on Google Play Store or the Windows version, you are able to unlock the Celebrationist cap. It's a party hat to celebrate the launch of DwarVein. Shout out to Erasable Sky in the Discord, because it was himself who came up with the idea for the Celebrationist hat. So thank you very much again. Also, there is a bit of fan art. As you can see here behind me, Erasable Sky created this awesome image of the ghost from DwarVein, and I'm now using it as the profile picture on our Discord as well, which you can go and find in game too. Alongside all these cosmetics, such as the Celebrationist hat, I also created a few extra cosmetics. They're secret ones that are found in the game, hidden in the world. But there is one for a shout out, and that is to Tree Gnomes, which very kindly allowed me to use his profile picture as one of the secret hats, as his game jam was the one that I ended up winning with the Over Underflow game. Decided I wanted to keep that achievement of mine solidified into DwarVein. Tree Gnomes, if you're watching this, thank you very much again for hosting that game jam in the first place. Now, as I was updating the game with all this new content, I realized my trailer was actually outdated. So I went out of my way and stripped the little parts of my trailer, such as the overworld and also the house scene, which had pretty outdated footage since the UI has been completely changed and the hub world was slightly altered, and I introduced some new footage into it. Now, it was only a small change as I'm pretty happy with how the trailer looks anyways. I'm going to be working on a future trailer for the DLC update, which I'm not going to put a date on, but it will be soon enough after launch. So be aware the Tropics DLC will be coming soon. And while updating it, it was also to enter a competition. There's an indie expo going on in Brighton in the UK, and it's free to enter. So I decided to submit to DwarVein because there was no harm in doing so. With that competition, the top 10 winners will get tickets and invites over to showcase and present their game to the public. Now, I'm not expecting to actually come within the top 10, but it's more, while it's available for me to submit, there's no harm in me doing so, because if there is that chance and it turns out that I do get in the top 10, it could be an opportunity for me. And even so, throughout the development of this game, I've been going to events and getting some feedback in person, experiencing a bit of the game dev environment. So I've been going to workshops, and I have a few other events planned to go to interact with people, get feedback on my game, and just to experience and learn from more people in the same field and same interests as me. If you told me a few months back that I was going to be releasing my first game officially to a store, I would have told you were joking, because I was not anticipating the fact that I would actually create a game and push it all the way to release. DwarVein is going to be monumental for me, as it's going to be the ground that I stand upon for the rest of my game development career, as that's where I want to go down, and every time I work on a future project, it will always be looked back on I release DwarVein in my final year of school onto the Google Play Store to the public and have an audience that are interested in it. I can't thank you all enough for even watching this video to this point. The fact that you've watched it to now means everything to me. It's monumental. It shows me that people are interested in what I'm creating and that whatever I'm doing, there's something good coming out of it. And I really appreciate it. Like, I can't thank you enough for being here and being alongside me for this journey. Now, also with that, while it's releasing on the Play Store, I'm thinking of releasing it on Steam down the line. I want to do a few tweaks if I want to launch it there by adding controller support and refining the menu systems to allow keybind changes before releasing it onto Steam. But for the moment, we're getting it onto the Play Store and in the hands of everyone who has a device to play it on. And if you don't, you can still play it on itch. You can download it on itch. Currently, right now, there's no problems at all. But again, thank yous all so much for watching up to this point and staying along for the journey, because it has been an amazing journey so far. And this is only the beginning, as I have a lot more planned for the future. If you've watched this far and you are really interested, which I presume by the point that you're here, do be sure to give the game a try. Let me know what you think of it. If you don't like it, also tell me what's wrong with it, or if you have any ideas for improvements, do let me know. And yeah, either way, that's the end of this video. Thank you very much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.